Rookie. Aleix Espargaro makes history with his and Aprilia's first ever MotoGP win in his 200th Premier Class start. After a tense race-long duel with Jorge Martin at Termas de Rio Hondo, Argentina. Espargaro had been fastest not only in qualifying, but also free practice and warm-up, presenting the Spaniard with a perfect chance to finally break his victory drought. But when the red lights went out, Espargaro got a shaky getaway and lost out to fellow front-row starters Jorge Martin and Luca Marini, plus younger brother Pol by turn 2, before recovering to second behind Martin by the end of the lap. The pair swiftly pulled 1 second clear of the battling pack led by Pol Espargaro, Rins, Marini and Joan Mir, with Espargaro continuing to shadow the Pramac Ducati until small mistakes on lap 10 allowed Martin breathing room. It also threatened to put Espargaro within range of the pursuing Rins, but the Aprilia rider regrouped with the fastest lap of the race to clamp back onto Martin's rear wheel. With 8 laps to go, Espargaro slipstreamed ahead of Martin along the back straight to lead for the first time, but promptly ran wide at the following hairpin, allowing Martin to casually return to the front. Espargaro repeated the attempt, with the same result, soon after. But it was a case of third time lucky, as Espargaro held his line into the hairpin with 5 laps to go. Martin wasn't done, clinging persistently to the RSGP until the final lap, where Espargaro finally edged out of reach for an emotional victory. Until today, Aleix had been the only rider on the MotoGP grid without a Grand Prix win, in any class, to his name, while the RSGP had taken just 1 prior podium, with Espargaro, at Silverstone last year. A dream day was made complete by Espargaro, now also leading the World Championship standings. Pol was among those flocking to congratulate Aleix, his brother's triumph helping soothe the disappointment of crashing out of 4th place with 11 laps to go, leaving Rins to complete the podium ahead of Suzuki teammate Joan Mir. Starting 13th and 14th after a problematic Saturday, factory Ducati teammates Francesco Bagnaia and Jack Miller failed to gain early ground. Bagnaia then chipped his way up the order to 5th, but Miller couldn't make an impression on the race and finished 14th. Maverick Vinales, who had also enjoyed his best Aprilia weekend heading into the race, lost a few places from 5th on the grid before stabilizing in 7th. Reigning world champion Fabio Quartararo was shuffled from 6th on the grid to 13th in the early laps. The monster Yamaha star gained a place when countryman Johann Zarco slid off ahead of him, but could only recover to 8th. Marco Bezzecchi was the top rookie in 9th for VR46, with teammate Marini fading to 11th. Qatar winner and World Championship leader Enea Bastianini began the race 12th on the grid, reached a peak of 8th, but then ran wide and dropped to 13th. Bastianini completed the top 10 by the checkered flag. The RNF Yamaha team seemed to suffer tire warmer generator problems on the grid for both Andrea Dovizioso and Doran Binder. Dovizioso then entered the pits at the end of the opening lap before rejoining the race. Dovizioso wasn't the only Yamaha rider in technical trouble, with Monster's Franco Morbidelli looking to suffer some kind of rear tire issue as he entered the pits with 18 laps to go. All riders chose to race with the hard front and soft rear tire combination. Marc Marquez, who suffered a new episode of double vision in the aftermath of his huge warm-up accident in Indonesia, missed this weekend's event and was replaced by HRC test rider Stefan Bradl. After a medical check last Monday, Marquez ophthalmologist Dr. Sanchez Dalmau said there had been a very favorable evolution in the paralysis of the 4th right nerve affected by the fall that occurred at the Indonesian Grand Prix. But he added, recovery is not yet complete, and Marc Marquez must follow the established therapeutic regime with conservative treatment. It is thus not yet known if Marquez will return for COTA next weekend, one of his most successful circuits, or rejoin sometime during the European season, which begins in Portimao on April 22nd to 24th. Fellow Honda rider Takoki Nakagami also looked set to miss this weekend after testing positive for COVID-19 and being unable to leave Japan. However, the cancellation of Friday combined with subsequent negative COVID results meant Nakagami was able to get to Termas in time for Saturday's start. MotoGP was returning to Termas de Rio Hondo for the first time since March 2019, with the event cancelled for the past 2 years due to the COVID pandemic. That also meant the current standard rear tyre construction, introduced in 2020, had not previously been used at the track. Barring any freight issues, MotoGP will be back on track in Austin, Texas on Friday.